PJNet.TV, brand new week. It is Monday, the 18th of January, and our bumper is running. We are recording. We are streaming live to multiple destinations. Our guest awaits us in the green room, and our chat room is eager to hear our guest and see our guest. Let's start a countdown to Studio 13. Well, good evening and welcome to a brand new week here at PJNet.TV. Now, behind me, you probably have already noticed Project Food. No one should go hungry. So you are probably anticipating what we are going to be speaking about today. But I really love it because we're emphasizing intervening into the lives of others and ministering to their needs, like Jesus did. Remember that? Okay. And David Winters, who has been on our program before on this very stage, or one like it, and has an acquaintance working apparently in the D.C. area. Now, folks, there are homeless people and people going hungry all over the world, okay? But somewhere you got to start and make an impact. I'd like to introduce you to someone who has pretty much dedicated his life to doing exactly that, and that would be Dave Edwards. Now, Dave is actually professionally, you manage all kind of staged events professionally. That's where things got started with you, but that's just a small portion of your life. I was reading your resume, and it seems like helping out and intervening in the lives of others, providing relief of all kinds, has dominated your adult life. Where did that calling come from? Anything in particular?
Well, I started my event career about 21 years ago, and I've done events, large events. I helped. I was in charge of the volunteers for the opening ceremonies of Special Olympics in Seattle. Did an event, the DC event for World Bank, and also JP Morgan, working on that, and I've done $100,000 weddings. But the thing that was most important to me was events that matter. Event. I'm not saying a wedding isn't an event that matters to the bride and groom, but I wanted to serve those in need, and that was planning a carnival-themed event for 500 inner city kids, doing an event for those experiencing physical disabilities, and a back-to-school rally, and then a suicide prevention conference. And then I've also done fundraisers for organizations that are helping those in need, including International Justice Mission and World Relief, and helping one of the leading orphan advocates in all of India, and then being involved in an inner city community center. So that's what my focus has been, events that matter. But I've always had an interest in food. I love food, and I like the immediate. There's two approaches to helping the poor. One is meeting immediate needs. So if you have a welfare mother with 5 kids, you need to make, she can't worry about the dance class that the community center provides if those kids are hungry.
Right.
So you meet the immediate needs, and then you should also be concerned about the long-term approach in order to get them off of welfare. So, and to get a girl involved in a dance class at the age of 5, and get her involved in an after-school program, a homework mentoring program. If she's involved in something like that, she's probably not going to become homeless. So there's a two-tiered approach. One is urgent care, and one is long-term care.
Now, am I right? You're in the D.C. area?
Yes.
Okay.
We serve the food insecure primarily in Wards 7 and 8, which are the two most underserved wards in D.C. But we also do work in suburban Maryland and Northern Virginia. And then there's also work throughout the country in helping other community organizations, churches, ministries coordinate food banks.
Okay, so tell us about your organization. Obviously, you're personally involved, but you're not doing this alone. There's a lot of people and a lot of teamwork involved in an enterprise of this magnitude.
Yes. Project Food is, we're one of the largest emergency food providers in all of DC, food distributors in all of DC. And like I said, we primarily serve the most underserved areas. We're working almost daily with those in need, including the unemployed, the newly unemployed, including the 60 million folks just like me, because I was involved in special events, the working poor, the seniors, the homebound, and the homeless, and the disabled. So those are our folks that we serve. And our services include food rescue. That is rescuing food that is destined for the landfill. And they say about a third of all food is thrown out. So we do food rescues. We work with Food Rescue US, and we're receiving sometimes 9 pallets of organic food from Whole Foods. And we've received food from the Senate, from hotels, from bakeries, bagel places, and Starbucks, and all these different places. So that is food rescue.
And then David, could I ask you a question?
Yes.
Obviously, you're tapped into a lot of heavy hitters there. Now, did they just notice that your organization was on the scene and they just started backing trucks up to the building, or do you have to go out and sort of recruit partners to supply the food that you distribute? How does that? How did it just so happen that that long list you just enumerated came to be?
A lot of these come from Food Rescue US, which is based in Connecticut, and but they have local chapters. And I work with somebody, Kate Urbank, who we're in daily contact, and so she'll get a call that a hotel has some food, and we bring our trucks or our SUVs, and we pick it up from their loading dock. And they get a tax-deductible donation. Now, a lot of places are concerned about the liability with providing food. Mm-hmm. What if somebody gets poisoned or something like that? So they don't want to provide food. But there's a federal law called the Emerson Act, where you cannot be prosecuted unless you were deliberately intending to poison someone. Mm-hmm. So anybody is able to donate food, and they also get a tax-deductible donation.
Okay, so okay, this food now. So that's the acquisition part. You know, you have to have food to distribute. Now, so then you go about distributing. So now let's look at the client side approach. How is it that you just find people? Do you just drive around with a sign that says free food? Do you walk the streets? Or is there more organized efforts to target clientele?
Well, let me back up just a little. So we do food rescue, which is expiring food. And then we do food redirection. So not all of our food is expiring. Some of that is food created just for the food insecure. So we may get a restaurant that creates 50 extra meals, or we may be getting boxes of food from Salvation Army, or the Farms to Families Food Bank, which was created by the administration to a lot of the farmers were plowing under their fields, and because they couldn't get it distributed. So the Trump administration created this program to get that food and deliver it to those in need. And so there's food redirection. And then as far as the distribution goes, we'll do a major distribution of semis full of food at a local church, or at a subsidized housing center. And their community center, and sometimes in the parking lots. And then, so right now we have about 15 organizations that we partner with in order to receive food, and we have about 15 organizations to distribute the food to. And these are distributed at churches. They're distributed to other food banks. They go to shelters, to soup kitchens, and senior centers, and subsidized housing locations. And then we do homeless outreach. So we'll make 200 homeless snack bags, and we'll distribute those straight up to the tents, and or in the parks, or in the folks usually hanging out in front of the liquor stores. And so we do the homeless outreach. We also do personal deliveries to seniors and the homebound and disabled right to their house. And they're not able to get out, and they appreciate the visit, and they appreciate the food. And then we do social service referrals. So, there's other needs besides just food. So maybe they need housing, or maybe they need legal help, or mental health services, or we're also involved in getting the community involved in helping others. And that's really been a goal of mine. Instead of us coming in and being the saviors of the poor, needy folks, we have the community involved in helping their neighbors. And then another focus of ours is to have my special event friends who are unemployed, get them involved in not only receiving food, but assisting and volunteering and delivering to the homeless, making deliveries to the homebound, creating the homeless snack bags, and also distributing the major distributions as well. Our scope is primarily Washington, D.C., in Ward 7 and 8. We believe in a holistic approach, meeting their physical needs, their emotional needs, and their spiritual needs. So their physical needs, immediate needs are the poor, feeding them, and bringing them clothes or masks and gloves, and then making referrals.
I'm going to give a second for our connection to reestablish itself. It kind of froze up there. What a powerful story. What an enterprise. What an undertaking it is. And I hope that we'll be able to bring Dave back. I'll put their website, projectfooddmv.org. And if you'll visit that website, you'll find more in detail the width and the depth, and the height of the scope. An undertaking of this sort is impressively massive, and he was just getting to what he was referring to as the holistic approach. And when you look at it, you've got somebody in a situation of sustenance, just to get them fed, but at the same time, they also have social needs. Integrate them back into the community at some point. So let me try a little bit more heavy-handed reset and see if we can't get Dave back to kind of wrap things up. Stand by. Okay, we are still trying to reconnect. I don't know what happened, but we're kind of approaching. We only had about the 4 minute mark. We have to wrap up anyway. Folks, if you are interested in becoming a part of the effort, the website, as you can see, is right there on your screen, and the need is larger than could ever be met. Folks, it's a pleasure here at pjnet.tv to put on the stage people who are taking an active role. It's very easy. Well, no, it's not very easy. Let's say you're driving and you come to a stoplight and you see that person that is clearly in need. We work real hard not to make eye contact with them, and maybe we'll say a prayer for them, but soon we're relieved when the light turns green so we can proceed on our way and put that in the rearview mirror behind us and hope that somebody else deals with that problem and meets that need. But I'm always reminded that Jesus always met the immediate physical need of many whom he encountered, and they depended on him, and he is our example. So while it is a good thing to offer our tithes and our offering to our churches who meet those needs, that does not in any way absolve us from the responsibility to get actively involved. Once I'll tell you a brief story. I was involved in disaster relief for 14 years, from Hurricane Andrew to Hurricane Kate. I would be the first one to arrive following a hurricane to set up the communications apparatus. Okay. So from time to time, I had people would ask me to come speak and talk about disaster relief. So I would take a case of work gloves, and I would the box was kind of open, and I would pull up one of the gloves and say, because of the generosity of churches like yours that give through the cooperative program, we are able to buy these in large quantities at a price that is unbelievable. I said, at our Jacksonville warehouse, we have boxes of gloves stacked to the ceiling because they're needed after a disaster. But the biggest need is not the glove. The glove does nothing without a hand in it. Our largest need is volunteers, people who will respond and give of their time sacrificially. So money is a poor substitute. Now, I saw Dave flicker there just for a minute. I am going to try my best to get Dave. We're just going to keep waiting and seeing if he comes back, and I certainly hope that he does, to give a final word. But if you are not actively involved, and no matter how much money you give, I don't think that fully meets the requirement. Now, I'm reminded what the Great Commission says, and we'll have to wrap it up with that. The Great Commission has been on my heart for the past several weeks. It's always been on my mind, but particularly the last several weeks. And let me just kind of summarize and paraphrase what it says. It says, go. Go. It doesn't say send. It says go. That's a volitional verb. Now then it says ye. Go who? Go someone else? No. It says go ye. Personally. Get involved. And we are to do two things, according to the Great Commission. Share the gospel and make disciples. Folks, the need is great, and it is an open door into the lives of others. And it gives us the opportunity to demonstrate in an active and loving way, well, the love of Christ. But it also gives us an opportunity to meet their social and their spiritual need, because that need is always there too. What an opportunity. Well, folks, I'm sorry that we kind of lost our connection there with Dave, but we heard a plenty lot about what he is involved in. And, he's not alone. There's many others. And folks, if you are involved in or know of a ministry that is intervening in the lives of others, well, Dave keeps trying to come back. Bless. Hey, you know what? Hey, guess what? Guess what? Hey, Dave.
I don't know what happened.
Hey, Dave, we're out of time, but give us one more minute, okay? I was trying to wrap it up, but you're here. Do the best you can to wrap up in a minute, okay? Is he locked up again? Is it frozen? Doggone it. Oh, my goodness. Well, the bonds are not cooperating. Hey, wait a minute. He's back again. Okay, Dave, can you hear me okay now?
Yeah. I don't know what happened there, and I don't know what you heard, and what you didn't hear.
Okay,
I just
well,
know that you froze up.
Here's what I know. We're at the 21-minute mark of a 20-minute program, but let's extend a minute to you to kind of wrap things up for us.
Okay. Now, did you hear about our holistic approach?
Holistic approach. Yeah, I kind of carried it forward using the model you described, and implored people to get involved. How do people get involved?
Well, the local folks, we need volunteers. And for those nationwide, contact your church and see if they'll food drive. Are you there now?
Yes.
Or not?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Do a social distancing food drive where your folks leave items out on their porch and you pick them up and bring them into your local homeless shelter or food distribution site.
All right. Well, Dave, we are going to have to wrap it up with that. We're closing in on 23 minutes. Dave, we applaud you for what you are doing, what your organization is doing, and we accept the challenge that you've issued to get involved, and we appreciate the ways that you have shared with us how we can get personally involved in a program like this, and we appreciate you taking time to share with us here on pjnet.tv. Okay, folks, sorry we had some connection issues there. There is the view of the Eagle's Nest, the broadcast facilities right here at pjnet.tv, and we have only begun tonight because at the bottom of the hour, in just a few moments, Casper Stockham from the great state of Colorado will be visiting with us, and I've got some work to do before he gets here. So before I leave, I would challenge you to ask yourself two questions. Here's the first one. What is the boldest thing you've ever done for Jesus Christ? Put your offering in the plate, or maybe personally get involved. And the second question is, when was that? Folks, the need is great, and the time is now. I hope that none of us will be satisfied with our answer to either of those two questions.